Hi there, this is Kevin from MaximizingEcommerce.com, and I help people start and grow e-commerce businesses. And in this video, we're going to talk specifically how to find the money to start that e-commerce business that you're looking to start. Well, for one, you're probably wondering, well, where do people go to find money to get started? Well, sometimes it takes a little bit of creativity and whatnot, and we're going to go through that here in this video. So let's talk about a few tips for starting out in e-commerce. For one, start with wherever you are, and that can be as little or as much as possible. At the end of the day, you are running a race with yourself, no one else. So sometimes you hear big stories about all these companies, they're making all this huge dollars. Huge valuations, they sold for billions of dollars, whatever the case is. Don't worry about that. Just focus on where you are and where you want to go. You are truly only running this race against yourself. Now, my suggestion is be as aggressive as you can, but comfortably so. I know that's kind of speaking out of both sides of my mouth, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. Now, my suggestion is start smaller to validate your idea. So if you think e-commerce is something you want to get into, be aggressive, go after it, but don't mortgage your house. Don't spend the last money that would be either rent or going after an e-commerce business. There's ways you can make money that maybe it just takes you a little bit longer to get started, but that's okay. We all had to start somewhere. My big suggestion is if you're trying to figure things out, try to figure things out while you're moving forward. You're going to figure things out actually a lot quicker because you start realizing what you need to figure out. So if you know that you need to save, let's say $1,000, I'm just making up a number here, but if you need to save $1,000 to get started because that's your goal, well, don't try to figure everything out, then go try to get the $1,000. Get the $1,000, whatever it takes to do that, and maybe it takes you months to do that. That's okay, but just whatever it takes, just while you're doing that, try to figure things out as you go. Now, a few things to avoid. I would avoid spending money you can't afford. So as much as I'm all about be aggressive, try things, take action, don't decide whether it's eat or buy inventory. I mean, at the end of the day, you got to take care of yourself. You got to be healthy. But at the same time, too, there's ways you can go find the money to get started. So one of those, though, is not to take out loans to start. I'm a big fan of taking more risks, especially as you have kind of gotten some traction going. I personally cashed out a pension. Do not recommend that everyone does that, but I cashed out a pension later on down the road after I got started. But there's ways of doing it to get started that, don't risk your future, that don't risk your house, that don't risk whether or not you're going to pay rent. But at least there's things you can do to get started. So the biggest thing that you could do that hurts your chances is to not at least start, taking no action whatsoever. So, if you think e-commerce is something you want to do, just write down your goals. Do that as soon as you're done with this video. So that way, at least taking some action. Then write down something you can do today. Write down something you can do tomorrow. And it might be a simple action, but just something to keep moving the ball forward. All right. So as far as back to the whole point of this video, which was finding the money to at least get started. So maybe you have some money saved up. Wonderful. Maybe you have some investors lined up that are going to be willing to pay for some of that inventory. Maybe you have a partnership lined up and you have a partner and you're going to do a lot of the heavy working and maybe they're going to pay for it or vice versa. But that could be something you could do to get started. Now, those are all great. And if you have that, that's wonderful. But if you don't, well, no worries. There are ways to get started. So it might take a little bit more work, but if you at least set the goals of what you need to get started. So for myself, I had taken a little bit of money off, put it off to the side, scanned some things, put them on Amazon. Then when I wanted to do private labeling, I knew it was going to be a little bit more expensive. And in order to go to a factory and get them to make a product for me, I knew I had to put some money off to the side. And I budgeted $1,200 for myself. Some people might say that's not enough. Some people might say that's too much. But whatever it is your goal, figure out your goal and just start working towards it. So you might have to work a little hard to get there, but you can do it. And you just got to be creative. So You may be wondering, okay, well, Kevin, what did you do? Well, I know I mentioned earlier I cashed in a pension, but I did not cash in the pension to get started. I cashed in the pension, paid the appropriate taxes and whatnot, but I did that after I'd gotten started, after I'd gotten some traction. When I wanted to do my own private label, well, I spent a season doing what you see here in this picture. So if you're not familiar with what this is, because it is a little bit of a blurry picture, I literally took a picture of my TV screen at home. But that is from a high school football game. I'm a referee in Florida. Specifically in this picture, I was a side judge. Not that that really matters to this video, but I'm the one in the white and black striped shirt with the black hat on. I'm not one of the kids in the kids. So this is varsity, so they're probably like 17, 18 years old. But I'm the guy who, you can't really see it, but my right hand is holding the whistle. And I took the money I got for doing a game, which isn't huge. I wasn't going to retire off of it, but I kept putting that off to the side, And then when I had the money I needed to get started, then I invested it. So maybe you don't referee high school football. Maybe you have no interest in refereeing high school football. I'm not saying that that's necessarily the way to do it for everybody, but I'm sure if you start thinking of it, you can probably find some ways to get started. So if you need a few ideas to kind of get your motor running, well, you could sell some stuff online. So you can sell used things on eBay, Craigslist, Amazon. Now check with the individual rules of every platform just to make sure that what you're putting up there works for that particular marketplace. But if you look around, I'm sure you can find stuff to sell. And sometimes you can go offline. You don't just have to go online to later sell online. You could have a garage sale. You can make a couple $100 or whatever the case is, selling things around your house. You could do Uber or Lyft or one of those other type of ride services. You could do Airbnb. I mean, there's all kinds of different things you could do. You could do some freelance work. Maybe you have some consulting you can do on the side. If you're a creative, freelance work can be a great way to get started, and you just kind of keep putting that money off to the side and saving up, and hopefully getting yourself relatively quickly to the point where you can invest that into an e-commerce business and get started from there. Or take out a part-time job. I mean, there's nothing wrong with delivering pizzas or a whole host of different jobs, high school football officiating, or whatever it is that you might be interested in. Even if you were to say to yourself, I'm only going to do this once or twice a week for 6 months or whatever it takes as a way of getting yourself closer to your goal, that's great. Don't let the fact that maybe you don't have the funds now to get started to hold you back from getting started. Because as long as you put down a goal and you say, these are the things I'm going to do to achieve that goal, you're going to be a whole lot more likely to get to where you want to go, so that you have the funds to get started in an e-commerce business. Life is too short not to at least get started on the things you wanted to do. And really just understand you're only limited by your own ingenuity. So these are just some suggestions. I mean, you could eat macaroni and cheese instead of eating out, and whatever say $5, $10, or whatever the case is, every time you do that, you put that money off to the side. I mean, I'm going to sound like Dave Ramsey here, but, have a couple less lattes a week and you put that money off to the side. Whatever it takes. If you think this is something you want to do, you will find a way to make it happen. I believe that you can. I've done it myself, and I know you can. So the most important thing to remember if you are thinking about getting started with an e-commerce business is to just get started. And remember, everyone who has a successful business started off with an idea and took action, just like you. They did it. You can do it. So, did you find this video helpful? If you did, I have a couple of quick requests from you. If you could click the little thumbs up button, it helps other people find this video, as well as subscribing to the channel. We can make sure to get updates to you whenever we put out new videos, and by doing this, it does help other people find our channel. And then also feel free to leave a comment, suggestion, or question down below in the comments, and we do our best to try to get to all of those questions, at least read them, and we do try to respond to as many of them as we possibly can. So if you want more exclusive tips and resources, go to maximizingecommerce.com, and you can sign up for our mailing list so we can send you out more information on how to get started on your dream e-commerce business. So I appreciate the fact that you took the time to watch this video, and I wish you the best as you work to maximize your own e-commerce business. Take care.